Welcome to the deep dive. Wow, you sent us down a fascinating rabbit hole this time.
Oh, yeah. What do we got?
Declassified CIA documents, Project Sunstream, and get this, a remote viewing session about the Ark of the Covenant.
Okay, well, CIA and remote viewing the Ark. That's definitely a mix.
Exactly. It's not your everyday intelligence report, right?
Yeah.
Which tells you this is going to be, well, interesting.
Intriguing is the word. So, psychic perception in official files.
Yep. And our mission, like always, is to pull out the most, compelling bits, the really insightful stuff from these sources for you.
Yep.
So the big question for today's deep dive is, according to these specific sources, what did this remote viewing actually reveal about the Ark? What's its significance, potentially?
Well, it's immediately striking, isn't it? You've got the hard world of intelligence agencies bumping up against psychic stuff.
Right.
The fact that CIA even considered this for something like the Ark of the Covenant.
Right.
It makes you wonder.
Wonder what?
Maybe their usual methods hit a wall. Or
Right.
maybe they thought, hey, perhaps there's something to these alternative ways.
Yeah, could be. So let's dig into the start of it. The session involved a psychic named Claudia. She's using protocol number 1, whatever that entails.
Okay.
Her first perception, linked to Project Sunstream, was this really powerful yellow light, but also a dark, moving curtain, sometimes hiding the light, sometimes revealing it.
Yellow light, dark curtain. Abstract.
But then the transcript directly links that Project Sunstream to the Ark of the Covenant in the declassified docs, which is, well, it's quite a jump.
It is a leap. Makes you
Yeah.
think, doesn't it? Is that yellow light somehow connected energetically to the Ark? Even subconsciously?
Maybe.
And the dark curtain? What's that? Interference. Something hidden on purpose. Or maybe, symbolic. A veil between realities.
Good questions. Now, when Claudia zeroed in on the Ark itself, she didn't really see it clearly. It was more something that vibrated.
Intensely.
Vibrated, okay. Yeah, more felt than seen. And she even sensed it was, technological. Which is definitely not the picture most people have, right?
Not at all. That vibration part is interesting, though. Especially with all the energy and frequency talk later on.
Ah, good point.
Suggests the Ark isn't just some old box, but maybe something active, emitting a signature.
And the tech aspect.
Well, that really shifts things from the purely religious view. Makes you rethink its original purpose. Maybe it was some kind of device we just misunderstood over time.
Could be. And then it gets really specific on location.
Oh, yeah.
The transcript says another CIA remote viewer, agent number 32, described something similar. And Claudia independently felt this structure, she called it, not just an object,
Sure. Okay.
was somewhere fixed. Energetically, it was in a kind of shadow, maybe underground.
Shadowy. Fix.
And then boom, it's in a desert, really dry. And the name California pops into her head.
California. Wow. That's
Yeah.
specific for remote viewing.
Right. 2 separate viewers, maybe different methods, different times, landing on similar descriptions. A fixed spot, dry desert, California.
That is noteworthy. I mean, you always have to be careful with subjective stuff like this, obviously.
Of course.
But the fact they both landed on those details, especially California,
Yeah.
it does make you wonder about, I don't know, energetic markers, anchors, something tied to that spot.
Definitely makes you wonder. Okay, let's shift to the tables of the law. The stone tablets.
Okay, Moses, what did she see?
Initially, yeah, something like that. An old man holding something fiery, like a red light pulsing between his hands.
Fiery red light, classic imagery.
But then the image changed a lot. It became this huge, energetic silhouette connected to a pyramid of light.
Whoa. Pyramid of light.
Yeah, and inside, the tablets were being shaped, actively formed.
Shaped, not just found.
Right, from a mix of earth materials and non-earth materials, and they held a key.
A key? To what?
Representing, apparently, the basic patterns of how Earth functions.
Okay, hold on. From Moses holding fiery things to an energy being in a light pyramid shaping tablets from Earth and non-Earth stuff with a key to the planet.
Yeah, quite the evolution in perception.
That really leans into a more, dynamic origin. Maybe even extraterrestrial with the non-Earth materials.
Seems like it.
And the key idea, like an energetic blueprint for Earth itself. Fascinating. Not just commandments.
Exactly. Now, guardians. The session also talked about guardians.
Through the Ark.
Seems so. First, Claudia saw tall winged beings, but described like pillars rooted deep in the earth.
Pillars. Rooted? Interesting. Not your typical angels then. More connected to the planet itself.
Yeah. But then later, when she was exploring what she called a fake arc.
A fake arc. We'll need to get back to that.
Definitely. But the Guardians there, totally different. Reptilian figures and a humanoid shape in the background.
Reptilian. Okay.
And the feeling was coldness, technology, but like technology that was stolen or cloned from the real energy.
Wow. What a contrast. Pillars rooted in Earth versus cold reptilian stolen tech vibe.
Big contrast.
That duality is really striking. The pillars sound almost elemental, tied to the planet's own energy.
Yeah.
But the reptilians and the stolen DNA feel manipulative, parasitic maybe, like something trying to hijack the original power.
Hijack or mimic it, yeah. Raises questions about what's real, what's deception.
For sure. And this fake arc guarding.
We'll circle back. But a really crucial theme that kept coming up was about opening the arc.
Okay. Who gets to open it?
Well, it can only be opened by the authorized, and only at the right moment.
Authorized. Like a chosen one.
That's what you'd think, but no. Claudia didn't see a person. She perceived the authorized as this huge energy, or an egregore.
An egregore. Like a collective thought form.
Exactly, like a shared energy field built from thoughts, emotions. And this egregore needs to have the right balance of frequencies, a whole spectrum.
Huh. So not one person, but a specific state of collective energy.
Seems like it. And the right moment is when that energy, that egregore, hits this harmonious blend, transcending duality, she said.
Transcending duality. Wow. Okay, so it's not about divine right. It's about energetic resonance, a collective alignment.
That's how it sounds, like reaching a certain vibration together.
That resonates with a lot of spiritual ideas, moving beyond polarized thinking. Fascinating.
And if you try to force it, open it before that right moment or without being that authorized energy.
Yeah. What happens?
She saw flame-like arrows, like a defense mechanism, which apparently lines up with the CIA report mentioning unknown forces protecting it.
Flame-like arrows, an energetic defense grid, basically.
Yeah. Potent image. Don't mess with the arc.
Clearly, it's not just a historical artifact in this view. It's actively guarded by something beyond normal means.
Okay, let's go back to that yellow light from the very beginning. Project Sunstreet.
Right, the light in the curtain.
Claudia sensed it came from outside Earth, but it influences Earth. And it exists on both metaphysical and physical levels simultaneously.
Okay, so an external influence. Multidimensional.
And she perceived it as being contained somehow, but also spilling over in energy. And here's the weird part. The energy mix.
What kind of mix?
It had frequencies described as rigid, cold, suppressing, but also, surprisingly, light, like positive light mixed in.
This is purely negative.
Apparently not. A complex blend. And those dark curtains she saw, they seemed to be the connection point.
Connection between what?
Between the light's frequencies and Earth and us, people. Maybe even a technological link, she sensed, influencing each other.
A technological link mediating this mixed frequency energy from outside. That sounds intricate. And potentially manipulative.
Potentially. It's definitely complex, not just good or bad, nuanced.
Okay. And how does this light affect people, according to her?
She perceived it influencing a huge majority of people on Earth, transmitting vibrational information.
Information, like data?
More like energetic patterns, maybe. And individuals take this information and integrate it based on their own print, their own energy signature.
Ah, so it's not a blanket effect. We filter it.
Yeah. We process it through our own unique lens, which could explain why people react so differently to things, right? We're all interpreting this mix of negative suppressing and positive frequencies in our own way.
That makes sense. A subtle but pervasive influence interacting with our individual makeup. Very interesting.
Okay, now let's properly dive into that fake arc idea she mentioned.
Right, the one with the reptilian guardians.
Exactly. She located this one underground. Again, dry desert area, California.
California again. Okay. Echoes the earlier perception.
But this one vibrates differently. A lower frequency than the yellow light. Seems connected to the light, but only drawing a narrow, kind of poor quality frequency from it.
Connected but drawing negativity.
Yeah, and exerting a direct negative influence on us, on humankind, aiming to lower our frequencies and the energy outside Earth, too.
Okay, that sounds deliberately manipulative, like an energy siphon focusing on the detrimental aspects.
Pretty much, but there was a contradiction. It seemed designed to increase something, but it wasn't clear what. Almost working against the broader range of frequencies in the real energy.
Increase something while lowering overall frequency. Strange, like a focused distortion, a counterfeit.
Counterfeit seems like the right word, especially when you look at its guardians.
Not the pillars this time.
No, this time. technology, wires, mechanisms, and entities. 4 reptilian, 4 humanoid.
4 of each, contrasting the 4 pillars of the other energy.
Exactly. And this fake tech felt linked to the energy above, but like stolen DNA? That clone idea again?
Stolen DNA, parasitic, trying to copy the real thing.
In these entities, the reptilians and humanoids felt rooted in Earth, but trying to act like they're masters of the bigger structure above.
Projecting authority they don't really have. Grounded here, but pretending to run the cosmic show. Limited perspective, maybe. Focused on control here.
Seems like it. And even the tables of the law inside this fake arc were different.
How so?
Yeah.
Still fiery.
Something red and flame-like, yes. But not harmful like those defense arrows. This was linked to matrix functioning.
The matrix. Like our reality systems.
Maybe the underlying structures.
Yeah.
And its purpose seemed to be creating negative attachments in people. Materialism. Negative behaviors rooted in that.
So less overt threat, more subtle influence, psychological, behavioral, keeping people stuck in lower vibrational stuff focused on the material.
Sounds like it. A more insidious control.
Definitely. Okay, back to the real tablets, the ones being shaped in the Pyramid of Light.
Right. The old Manergy figure. She stressed it was an ongoing shaping process.
Still happen?
Apparently. Blending metaphysical, energetic components, coded to respond to specific commands or moments linked to Earth.
Wow. Dynamic coding.
And this energy, she said, doesn't have one single origin or DNA. It's a multitude. Earth-based, non-Earth-based, contradictory elements all mixed together, complex, evolving.
So not a fixed ancient relic, but a living, evolving, energetic code with mixed heritage, so to speak.
Yeah. So what about the rules of Earth encoded in them?
What does she perceive there?
She saw a line crossing Earth encoded in the tablets, representing the palatability, she called it, or the basic rules of how Earth works, like an operating manual.
Earth's OS.
Kind of, with codes to be preserved. She sensed info about our origins was in there, but the main focus was Earth's shaping, its planetary functions.
How the planet itself operates.
Exactly. She felt the tablets were pure energy, encoded with symbols too complex to just, read easily.
Makes sense, if it's that fundamental.
But a key rule she did grasp involved integration and disintegration.
Disintegration of the planet.
No, not the whole planet. More like parts, regions, aspects, leading to constant reshaping. Some areas become uninhabitable, others grow.
Cycles of change, geological shifts, maybe.
Linked to natural disasters, yeah. But she perceived these disasters as possibilities that were set from the start, like in a super complex algorithm.
Algorithm.
Yeah, influenced by conditions inside Earth and outside, suggesting this really dynamic self-regulating system for the planet.
Wow. So Earth's changes, even catastrophes, are part of a preset but responsive energetic program encoded in these tablets. That's a huge concept.
It really is. And intriguingly, she saw a connection, a line between the energy of these Earth-based tablets and that yellow light container outside.
The external source.
Yeah, but it wasn't like the energy split. It was more like copying or mirroring.
Copying. So the tablet energy is a reflection or copy of the external yellow light energy.
That's what it sounds like. Suggests the info flows between them, but which way primarily? Or is it mutual? Unclear.
Raises big questions about origin and influence, doesn't it?
Definitely. Now, back to those reptiloids and humanoids with the fake arc.
What about their knowledge?
Their understanding of the tablet seemed tied to Earth's duality. Good devil, light dark.
How so?
She sensed they sort of maintain or focus on one side of that duality, and doing that gives them access somehow, lets them copy or clone the tablet information.
So by embodying or manipulating one pole of duality, maybe the negative, the separation and gain leverage, access to the code, but maybe a distorted version.
That seems to be the implication. Their focus on duality is their key, but also maybe their limitation.
Fascinating. Okay, so where does that leave things now? Present day.
Well, as of the session time, which aligns roughly with now, April 2025, Claudia perceived that authorized opening energy, the egregor, the collective consciousness, is still in flux.
Still balancing.
Yeah, shaking, she said. Balancing between negative stuff, which she linked to current world chaos, and positive stuff, high vibrations, humanistic values.
So we're in that balancing act right now, collectively.
Seems like it. And the right moment to open the arc is still when that energy hits harmony, gets that broad spectrum, moves beyond duality. It's an ongoing process. We're not there yet.
The potential is there, but the collective frequency isn't stable or high enough yet. Makes sense, given the state of things.
She also saw that some people are accessing the codes to get past duality individually.
People are waking up to it.
Yeah. But even negative entities are trying to grab power from that potential shift. They're trying to use it too.
Oh, they're limited.
Right. Limited by their own lower vibes, and they rely on tech, not inherent understanding. It's like this race almost.
Yeah.
Different beings trying to tap into this higher potential, but with different motives and abilities.
A spiritual arms race in a weird way.
Sort of. And she even suggested humanity could move beyond duality entirely. She perceived a morphogenetic field of oneness.
A field of oneness.
Yeah, that individuals can connect to. But it's not like flipping a switch. It's gradual, a slow shift out of dualistic thinking, not some sudden escape. More evolutionary.
A collective field we can tune into as we evolve. That's a hopeful note.
Yeah.
Gradual awakening.
It is. And after all that, cosmic info, fake arcs, reptilians, energy fields, Claudia's final thought was surprisingly grounded.
What was it?
Basically, that the most important thing for any individual is just focus on your own well-being, your own evolution, but don't get obsessed. Focus on inner healing. She suggested that doing that inner work is actually the best way to navigate everything else, all the external stuff, whatever influences might be out there.
That brings it right back home, doesn't it? After all the complexity, the answer is look within.
Pretty much.
Cultivate your own inner harmony, your own frequency. And that ultimately contributes to the collective shift. It makes sense. We change the world by changing ourselves.
Exactly. Well, this has been, wow, a really deep, complex dive, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Project Sunstra, remote viewing the Ark.
Yeah.
It's taken us into some seriously thought-provoking territory.
It really has. Getting this perspective, just from these specific sources, the declassified docs, the session transcript, it's extraordinary. Such a different lens on ancient mysteries, energy, reality itself.
What stands out most to me is that constant thread. Energy, vibration, frequency.
And it's everywhere in her perceptions.
Affecting the Ark, human consciousness, the planet. It really pushes you to think beyond just the physical world we see, to consider these invisible energetic interactions.
It really does. So, something for everyone listening to maybe chew on.
Yeah.
What if these ancient mysteries, the things that fascinate us, aren't just stories? What if they're echoes? Echoes of a reality that's way deeper, way more complex, maybe hinted at in things like Project Sunstream. Yeah.
It's definitely a thought to ponder, what lies beneath the surface of the stories we tell.
Exactly. Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.
My pleasure. Fascinating stuff.